Yo, everyone. Here we have skilled success, learn faster, train like the best, and become extraordinary at anything. Yeah, this book is amazing. By Bogdan Junswicks. Still seem like I can't pronounce that shit. I can't. Yeah, it just seems like for some reason I'm pronouncing that fucking the wrong way and shit. I'm getting better though. Okay, here we have chapter 1, section number 3, bruh. Come on, this shit's gonna get good, dog. Like, I'll let you know right now. Achievement hacking, model success. Success is a science. If you have the conditions, you get the result. God damn. Achievement hacking, model success by Oscar Wilde. Almost anything you could ever dream about achieving has been achieved by somebody else throughout history. Want to become a great musician? People have done that. Want to become a top-class basketball player? People have done that too. Want a great relationship, a successful business, huge global reach and influence? People have achieved all of those things. And even if your ambitions haven't been achieved before, if you're really committed, you can still find people who've achieved similar things from who you can learn. The key here is to go and model their success. That's right. And instead of attempting to figure it all out on their own, it's because success has been figured out. Hold on, give me a moment. Sorry. Success has been figured out. Success isn't as mystical as it's made out to be. It's a science, and key to that science is figure out what already works for those who have achieved what you want, and to model, not copy, but model their success, dude. That's fire. This is also why throughout history, many of the world's highest achievers across most professions had mentors who taught them. It's because they understood that the mentor had been there, done that, and could provide insights that could save them years of figuring it all out themselves. This master-apprentice dynamic is really fascinating to study throughout history, and we'll talk more about it later, but it's important for us to understand that many of the world's most successful people become successful by standing on the shoulders of giants. That's fucking right, dude. See that shit? Who the fuck are you hanging around with? For real, like, bruh. This shit, if this shit doesn't make you think, then you're dead, bruh. This shit makes you think, bro. Like, you better wake up. Yet, how often in today's society are we compelled to follow the age-old, yet in most cases wildly ineffective guidance of if you want it done right, do it yourself? Nah. I know this not only by observing and teaching thousands of people worldwide, but also because I used to be like that. I used to be a person who would turn away help because I always had to do it myself. Looking back, it limited my success because I was repeating all the same mistakes that I could have easily learned to avoid by studying others. This book is designed to model the mindsets, patterns, and methods of top athletes such as Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Roger Bannister, Cristiano Ronaldo, and others, musicians such as Mozart and the Beatles, business leaders such as Elon Musk, Sarah Blakely, Bill Gates, and others. And beyond that, it mixes in decades of research in the fields of neuroscience, psychology, and human behavior. Damn, bruh. All kinds of mindsets here, dog. Human behavior. And rounds off with my personal nuances, teaching thousands and thousands of people all around the world. The goal here, once again, is to model what works, but also to learn how and why each principle works, so you can tailor these success principles to our own preferences, interests, and situations, priorities, ways of living. Bam. You can see that, right? I want to get two in the fucking frame. My big ass hand. Let's see. There you go. Okay, exercise. Achievement hacking index. Let's talk about chew and put this all into practice. Okay, what's one area of your life that you've done a great job modeling, learning from others? It's one question you should ask. Bam. These go hard. What's one area of your life that you've done a great job modeling and learning from others? What are 3 of the greatest lessons you've learned from others, from a parent, a mentor, a coach, a friend, teacher, etc.? What impact has it had? What's one area of your life in which you could do a better job modeling the success of others? Think about that shit. Who are 3 people, current or historical? To think about it and write it down. Who are 3 people, current or historical, whose success you can model and how you could do it? Read their biographies, watch interviews, watch documentaries, study their work, etc. Think about that shit. Read their biographies, watch interviews, watch documentaries, study their work. Take 5 minutes to answer these 4 questions in depth. Bam. It's not born. It's developed. Ooh-hoo-hoo. Every artist was first an amateur. Bam, bitch. If you ask the majority of people that what makes someone a genius, master, or extraordinary at their craft, in most cases, the answer you'll receive won't be pretty. In one particular poll, researchers found that more than 75% of people believe that things like singing or composing requires an innate gift or God-given talent. Other polls have been done, and consistently people believe that things like innate talent or genetics correlate to skill and success, when in fact research now shows us these elements have little to zero correlation to skill or success. Fuck that. So there's no... People believe that things like innate talent or genetics correlate to skill and success, like, bruh. When in fact, research now shows us these elements have little to zero correlation to skill or success. If you ask, many people will attempt to tell you that people like Shakespeare, Warren Buffett, Henry Ford, Abraham Lincoln, Richard Branson, or Beethoven, I don't know what the fuck, are special, that they have natural gifts that the rest of us just weren't fortunate enough to born with. They'll tell you that skill and mastery or genius is outside of your control and shit. And if you weren't born with some kind of innate abilities of natural born gifts, well then you're screwed. Yet research just doesn't back any of this up. Studies and experiments in the fields of neuroscience, human psychology, and human behavior, as well as the pattern recognition of the world's highest achievers, consistently shows us that we all have far more control over our skill and achievement than we have been misled to believe. Just like the achievement in science, become extraordinary is far more controllable and predictable than people think. But please don't misread that. To say easy and simple, it's still not easy. It never was, never will be. Frankly, it shouldn't be. If it was easy, everyone would have it, and if everybody has it, it's not a success. It's a standard. Puta madre. Don't expect success to be super easy, or else everybody would already be fucking multi-billionaires and shit. So think about it, bro. You want to go the hard way or the fucking easy way? That's your fucking choice. The idea that everybody can be above average at the same thing is very paradoxical and irrational if we really think about it. If everybody was an extraordinary chess player, then nobody would be an extraordinary chess player. Then that new heightened level would now be a new standard. If everybody was above average, nobody would be above average. Everybody would be, by definition, average. With that said, while not everybody... Sorry, somebody was calling me, but we're not gonna answer this phone call. Wait, I got it, bro. Come on, bro. Let me just skip this video real quick. Nah, I can't skip it, dog. This is more important. You can just leave me a fucking voicemail, dog. Okay, come on, focus. That new heightened level. Okay, what the fuck? Okay, I'm still fucking on that stupid account. On that call, fuck. Okay, if everybody was above average, nobody would be above average. Everybody would be, by definition, a fucking average. With that said, while not everybody can become extraordinary at the same thing, everybody can absolutely become extraordinary at something, because there are hundreds, even thousands of different skills, professions, and industries one can choose from. And as we know, not everybody wants the same things. But in order to, damn son, but in order to, we must become aware of the truth behind skill and the myths that derail so many others. Fuck yeah. All the myths that derail so many others. About these stupid ass myths. Okay, bro. DNA, IQ, talent, truth about skill. And truth about skill. I have no special talent. I'm only passionately curious. Albert Einstein. Fucking bam, perro. Think about that shit. Ingrain that shit. I have no special talent. I'm only passionately curious. At age 5, he was already composing music for the piano and violin. By age 6, he was already impressing his peers with his piano abilities. Age 8, he wasn't just playing the compositions of others, but rather he was already composing his own music. Damn. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, from an external perspective, seemed like he was born with some kind of innate abilities. Yet, when you look behind the curtain, just like Michael Ho did in his book, Genius Explained, you'll find a very different outlook on this innate musical ability. You'll find that his ability wasn't innate or God-gifted at all, but rather it was developed. Michael Ho researched Mozart's life and estimates that Mozart had already clocked upwards of 3,500 hours of musical training before his 6th birthday, which is more hours of training that some musicians put in throughout their lifelong careers. He did that before he turned 6. And when you compare his ability not to those of a similar age, but to a similar amount of hours of training, you'll find that his ability wasn't all that impressive after all. What he was able to do was compress 3,500 hours of training into his first 6 years of his life, making it seem like he was born with musical gifts when in fact he wasn't. Damn. 3 faces of the genius illusion. Sorry, fucking nose is all clogged. Okay, 3 faces of the genius illusion. The genius is 1% inspiration. Fuck, 1% inspiration. What the fuck? And 99% perspiration. Let's say that fucking again. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Fuck yeah, by Thomas Edison. The illusion of natural-born genius or child prodigies also goes through the same 3 phases. It starts with phase number 1, genius. A new star explodes on the scene with extraordinary ability. People are shocked and begin to label their genius. New star explodes on the scene with extraordinary ability. People are shocked and begin to label their genius. With no other justification of their extraordinary ability, people justify it with doesn't make sense. People justify it with it must be God-given talent. It must be natural-born gifts that created this prodigy. And sometimes they go even further to justify it. I could never be as good as that because I just wasn't born with the same superior talent that this person was born with. Now, you've probably seen this play out yourself on the news, the internet, social media, or throughout history, and you've probably heard about so-called prodigies before. That's the first place, the genius place, where people are in complete disillusioned awe of this so-called genius. I fucking questioned it, what the fuck? People are incomplete. Where people are incomplete, disillusioned awe of this so-called genius. Damn, son. Disillusioned awe of this so-called genius. It's crazy. That's the first phase, dog. However, just in like... Okay, hold on. I got something in my eyeball. However, just like in the metaphor from the instruction, this phase is an illusion. Like a magician doing a magic trick. It may seem magical at first, but once you learn the trick, dive behind the scenes. It loses its elusive nature. But once you learn the trick, dive behind the scenes, it loses its elusive nature. Phase number 2, studied. Okay, why am I fucking holding the book like that, bro? What the fuck? Okay, over time, people like myself go and research these people who are seemingly born with natural-born talents or gifts in attempts to gain greater insight into what really creates their extraordinary achievement. This starts when certain people become dissatisfied with the justification that these people were just born special. And once again, just like in the magician metaphor, they go behind the scenes and see what really creates their skill. Once again, just like in the magician metaphor, they go behind the scenes and see what really creates their skill. It's that curiosity and discoveries that come of it that form the basis of pretty much all education we have today. I gotta fucking focus, dog. What the fuck? Every topic we can learn nowadays at some point didn't exist. That's until somebody got curious, asked better questions, sought better answers, and discovered something. The topic of gardening never existed until somebody found a way to predictably grow crops and pass on that wisdom. The topic of psychology didn't exist until someone decided to research how people think and how the brain works. It's in the same way that topic of achievement never existed until some people become dissatisfied with the justification that luck or some other uncontrollable factor created success and decided to dive deeper into it. That's how new topics of study are born. People begin to question the socially accepted norms and discover new things that change our understanding of the world. And as the start's path to greatness gets researched and analyzed, they discover that it wasn't natural born talent or superior genetics that created their success, but rather other factors that you will learn in this book, at which point the illusion of genius fades away. Phase 3. Understanding. The new discoveries from new understandings about what created this person's success. After the research, Mozart stops being considered a child prodigy, but rather became considered an incredibly disciplined, passionate, dedicated child with over 3,500 hours of training before age 6. With incredible support around him, Leopold Mozart, Mozart's father, was already a famous composer and performer himself, and started teaching young Mozart. See, we're not perfect, bruh. I love that shit. Was already a famous composer and performer himself, and started teaching young Mozart the piano from age 3. It's uncovered research like this that moves us into the third phase of understanding, where we now have deeper insights into what really creates genius or mastery. However, Mozart isn't the only example from it. Mozart isn't the only example, far from it. Tiger Woods was considered a genius, so was Van Gogh, so was Beethoven. And while this list may go on and on, what's important is that today, these icons are no longer considered genius because of superior talent and innate gifts, but rather for their hard work and skill development. Furthermore, if we are really looking for the best example, if you compare to the example of the Italian sculptor, painter, and poet, Michelangelo, who painted the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel and was considered the greatest artist of all time. Considered a genius. He too was considered a genius. What's surprising is that while others may have pawned, it's like my fucking name right there, dude. Okay, what's surprising is that while others may have pawed off their extraordinary ability. Okay, bro, I'm fucking holding the damn book, motherfucker. Kick your ass, dude. What's surprising is that while others may have pawed off this extraordinary ability to talent or genius, here are some of Michelangelo's famous quotes throughout history. If people knew how hard I had to work to gain my mastery, it would not seem so wonderful at all. If you knew how much work went into it, you wouldn't call it genius. Damn, bitch. Fucking fuck. Others couldn't see the thousands of hours of learning and skill development that Michelangelo had to put into his craft. Hence, for them, it's genius. But for Michelangelo himself, he knew how much happened behind the scenes. Hence, his approach was very different about his skill. It's amazing how to think that we, human beings, can actually get so incredibly good at something that people are in such awe that they prefer to justify it as God-given talent rather than the effect of hard work and dedication. And when it comes to the debate about child prodigies, too often we look at their innocent, naive, young faces and we are deluded to believe that it was a God-gifted gift that led to their ability, forgetting that these extraordinary young performers have put in hundreds and thousands of hours of hard work to get where they are at a very young age. These three faces of genius repeat over and over again, just like magic. It starts off with an elusive appearance of God-given talents, but end up, as expected, as nothing more than hard work and strategic development that creates their skill. Fuck yeah. Hence, we must stop putting so much emphasis on talent and rather reallocate that focus over to this new perspective. Hence, we must stop putting so much emphasis on talent and rather reallocate that focus over to this new perspective. Studies actually show us that having it, I control my results mindset not only makes you feel better because you're in charge, but also enhances your performance. We have research to support that, and it's really just common sense. If someone believes they control their fitness results, they are far more likely to go to the gym and exercise than if they believe they are genetically fat, and no matter what they do, they're still going to remain fat. Which is why, even though it's sometimes scary to be fully and completely responsible for all of our successes and failures, we must step into this responsibility because it will help us not only achieve more, but be more fulfilled in the process. Beyond talent, another myth people often accept about skill is the importance of IQ. IQ, which stands for intelligence quotient, is a measure of intelligence, and we've been told that those who have higher IQ are more skilled and achieve more. This is fucking lies. This is IQ actually stands for intelligence quotient or something like that. Quotient is a measure of intelligence, and we've been told that those with higher IQ are more skilled and achieve more. Like the fuck, nigga. However, since then, lots of research has been done to test this correlation, and once again, it turns out this too has little to no correlation to skill and real success. In fact, in 1921, a man by the name Lewis Terman decided to study the so-called gifted, which he assessed based on IQ exclusively. Over the next years, he had sorted through all the records of over 250,000 students, elementary and high school students, with the goal of finding the top 1,000 most gifted students. He eventually ended up with 1,528 students, 856 males and 672 females with the highest IQ, which averaged at over 140 and ranged up to 200. He labeled this group termites. Over the next few decades, he and members of his team went on to perform the longest psychological longitudinal, I like that word, study to date around this group of high IQ students. The study today is known as the genetic studies of genius. Terman was driven to do this because he believed, as he once said, there's nothing about an individual as important as IQ except possibly his morals. There's nothing about an individual as important as IQ except possibly his morals. During the study, he went on to follow and study the lives of this gifted group. They were all tracked, tested, analyzed, and studied. He tracked everything, every job, every promotion, every marriage, every illness. He collected everything he could get his hands regarding the lives of his termites. News articles, letters, documents, you name it. When he began to report his finding, at first they seemed promising. A large group of his gifted students went to good school and got good grades. In fact, final schooling results from the study show that over 50% of termites finished college compared to 8% of the general population at that time. A massive difference and a big win for the importance and value of high IQ. But over time, his discoveries didn't match his ideas about the importance of IQ and its correlation to skill and success. Although some of termites did reach great levels, prominence, skill, and achievement in their respected fields, the majority of their lives were more mundane. By the fourth volume of Genetic Studies of Genius, Terman had noted that as adults, his subjects pursued common occupations as humble as those of policeman, seaman, typist, and filing clerk. He concluded his multi-decade study by saying, "At any rate, we have been seeing that intellect and achievement are far from perfectly correlated." Excuse me. At any rate, we have seen that intellect and achievement are far from perfectly correlated, which is simply a nice way of saying there is little correlation between intellect and achievement. During the study, Terman went as far as to meddle with the termites' lives, giving them letters of recommendation for jobs in colleges, which makes the study tainted and biased. But even despite the fact that Terman went this far to give his gifted children an advantage, despite that, the results still don't show what he was attempting to prove. In the book, Fads and Foibles in Modern Sociology and Related Sciences, sociologist Pitterim Soroscan, the fuck, expands on the finding by showing that Terman selected group of high IQ children performed no better than a random group of children selected from similar family backgrounds. Since about 90% of the high IQ children in the study were white, and the majority came from upper or middle class families, it's a fair criticism which only continues to reaffirm how little IQ matters in the game of success. Now, it may seem sad to hear about a man who spent his entire life studying the importance of high IQ, only to find that there was little correlation between IQ and success, but his work did actually bring a huge amount of value. He may have set out to prove that those who were born with high IQ estimates place the heritability of IQ between 55% and 77%, go on to achieve more, but instead he proved the opposite, which, if we really think about it, it's a far more empowering conclusion that gives us far greater control over our skill and success. But instead he proved the opposite, which he was, if he really think about it, it's far more empowering conclusion that gives us a far greater control over our skill and success. His study went on to shows that IQ doesn't have much of a correlation of skill or success at all. No matter whether you have incredibly high IQ or very low IQ, it doesn't really affect your ability to become extraordinary. Fucking highlighter sucks. Fucking sucks pussy, dude. Okay. Let's fucking focus. In another study, a group of researchers studied the IQ of chess masters and found that their IQ was statistically no higher than the IQ of other, less successful chess players. And other studies have been done to show this same trend across other industries, topics, and skills, continuing to reconfirm that higher IQ does not lead to higher skill. Which all means if you were born with low IQ, you're not by any means genetically screwed or suck at impotence. Hell no. And if you believe that it's been your high IQ that's been giving you the edge in life, it hasn't. Something else is responsible for that, not IQ. However, as you may have realized in Terman's study, there is one thing that high IQ does correlate and link to. Because of how top universities, colleges assess applicants' IQ, this correlates strongly to your odds of getting into a top school. And as you saw in Terman's study, a staggering 50% of its high IQ children went to college compared to the national average at the time of 8%. This may change in the future as colleges catch up to current research, but for now, IQ matters in this situation. Meaning, if you want to get into a good college, then where was I? What the fuck? I mean, if you want to get into a good college, then yes, IQ does matter for that. But if you believe it's that is that IQ correlates to skill, business success, relationship success, like fuck, sorry. Life satisfaction or happiness. Then just like Terman, you may just go on your whole life believing something that latest research shows that's very inaccurate assumption. And number two may just be holding you back from taking your full control of your life and achieving that which you really want to achieve. IQ correlates to your odds of getting into a great college, but doesn't correlate to skill or success itself. It's why some of the most skilled and successful people in the world don't have high IQ, yet become extraordinary. Furthermore, people have been debating the importance of not just IQ, but genetics or DNA in general. And since then, research teams have been looking to find specific DNA combinations that link to specific skills. Simply put, they've been looking for the chess gene, the musical gene, and the entrepreneur gene. They are seeking genetical advantages that link to success in certain areas. Yeah, after decades of seeking, they're yet to find any specific DNA combinations that link to superior level of ability, particular topics or skills. They are yet to find. They haven't fucking found shit. I'm telling you, bro. So plus, if genetics or DNA really correlated with higher levels of skill, then all family siblings and twins would have similar talents and abilities. Yet they don't. You can take two twins, and 30 years later, they'll be vastly different. One may be an incredible artist, the other may suck at art. One may be an amazing creative mind, the other very analytic. Similar genetics, different results. It's because hard work, passion, training, preference, mindset, deliberate practice, deliberate experimentation, and other factors you'll learn in this book have far greater effect on skill than DNA, genetics, or IQ ever could. And this doesn't just apply to skill development, it applies to other areas of life as well. For example, health. Particular studies show that your future health is only about 10% controlled by your genetics, with the other 90% coming from controllable factors like nutrition and lifestyle. In essence, saying that illnesses and health problems are only about 10% shaped by genetics, which is pretty shocking, bearing in mind that most people believe that their illnesses or health problems stem from their genetics. For now, this research and these findings have remained very niched, but based on past behavior, odds are they'll hit far more mainstream attention over the next few years. Also, important to understand the numbers vary based on context. 10% is very generic, and researchers are still testing a lot of this stuff to get increasingly accurate data. It may be 12% or 9% or 4%, but the underlying premise stands for health. Just like for skill development, you have far more control of your destiny than we can fucking think. And we're gonna end it right there for this one, guys. You have far more control of your destiny than we think.